Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind Podcast, episode 222. 3 ducks in a row if we were playing bingo, I think. Anyway, today we are talking about FIFO versus property development, which builds a better future. Bob and I will have a chat about that and leave you questioning where you might sit. Let's jump on in, episode 222. Hello and welcome to episode 222. That is that 3 ducks in a row, isn't it, Bob?
Quack, quack, quack.
Yes, that's quite ironic. I just won a speech actually with talking about getting your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how it starts threading through your life when you start talking about stuff?
Well, it's pretty much forward, at the front of your mind, that speech, because I hear it about 6 times a day.
Yes, when you're in a competition for speaking, the speech is about getting your ducks in a row, how we don't decide and people stay in those stuck places, which is so my theme in life. Some of us settle for mediocre and we don't make decisions and follow through on the things that we want to achieve, and we turn our childhood dreams into adult routines and call it safety. That's in my speech. That's a good takeaway, that one, but that actually does happen. Anyway, before we get into making this a chitty chat about why people don't achieve the things they want, Bob, I'm going to give away the book, Ravi Yellowman Chili. He's in our mentoring program. This is going for you, Ravi. We love working with Ravi and his wife. They are just such a, super happy couple. He's one of those men that I've never seen smile so much. He reminds me of another mentoring student we have, successful mentoring student, Mushi. Anyway, that book is in the post to you, Ravi, and I hope you enjoy the read, heading to Bob's page 221, 122.
121.
Oh my goodness, what's going on? Anyway, Bob, good morning.
Good morning.
How was your night last night? I was out, you were home alone.
Yes, well, you deserted me to go to Toastmasters, but I did my usual thing, got into the kitchen, whipped up a absolute storm.
He did.
Well, for me.
Yes. I want a few things for me for later today, so thank you. It makes it sound like you're like a house husband.
Yeah, anything but, hey.
Yeah, anything but, all right. Bob, what's your tip for the week?
I was thinking about that, what I was going to talk about. Careful who you hook up with or shack up with or marry or whatever, because they could end up quite successful. Maybe they already were. Where's this leading? It's leading about, this is an interesting one. A lot of people might know that we won, we did.
This podcast.
We did. We won a Stevie Award. If you don't know what a Stevie Award is, they're like the Academy Award of Business Awards. And
they're global.
Global, very much. And we won a gold for the communication category.
The category was education, under educating podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. And we won that because of the podcast. And there's a gold there that we're going to collect in New York very soon in November. Since then,
we could have had it posted to us, but we thought we'd go get it.
Oh, no. Well, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, yes. Might not be the first one. Who knows? But we've since found out that there's another 4 awards in different categories. Things like, speaking, writing, your book. You're up there for your book, 3 Wines In. Speaking, writing. What else is there?
Women in property.
And
there's a Maverick Award.
And you're up for that. So you won't say it, but I will. You've made the finals in all 4 of those categories, not just the gold one. And you're either going to win gold, silver, or bronze. Because to be nominated as a finalist and invited to New York, you have to be one of the 3, gold, silver, bronze. That's going to be an exciting night. And I'm a little bit concerned about how much it's going to cost to bring them back. They're going to weigh a bit.
They will weigh a bit. It is pretty exciting.
And the cost of international travel with carrying 5 of these things back.
5 Stevie Awards, and it's pretty exciting. It's been a big year.
Big year. Well done, girl.
Thank you. So what's your tip?
So my tip is this. Unless you can deal with somebody in your relationship who's really successful and you're just going to basically tag along behind and carry the bags, which will be my job. I'll be the bag carrier, so I can get my shoulders sorted out. If you can't deal with that, you've got a problem.
Please, you're making yourself sound like you're not a very successful man. Crikey, maybe birds of a feather flock together, Bob.
Could be too.
Yeah, I'm just the noisy high achiever. You're the
Duck,
quiet high achiever.
ducks of a feather quack together.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and it is pretty exciting. The up for the awards, and who knows what I bring home. But looking forward to ripping over to New York and walking down the red carpet and just being amongst people who are similar, that are excited to be living life and turning our childhood dreams not into adult routines, actually taking ownership. And I suppose that's probably, before we get on to the FIFO versus property development, this is really about property development in some ways. One, I do talk a lot about building your future, and that is around what's happening on the inside of you before we give up on life. But we use development as a tool to build our future. And we teach that, that you can use development as a tool to build and change or create the future you want. And often people start or have a dream, or they want to. And you right now listening, you could be that person. You really want to do something. You really want to do a development. You really want to change your situation financially. You want to spend more time with your family. You just know that you were meant for more, and you're stuck right now in a place that you're not happy with. And what happens, like I alluded to before, is we don't take the opportunities that are presented in front of us. And they so often are. I mean, I have to congratulate AJ Marabella. He just joined our mentoring program. He's been around for a while in our community, and I see when he posts stuff, and I'm like, okay. And I look and I was like, AJ, you could just be doing this so much better. And he is now. And so congrats, AJ, for joining. And that's that whole turning that dream that you have into a reality. And we all have that option. It's making the decision. It's doing the things. Bob, you brought it up the other day. Successful people do the things that unsuccessful people aren't prepared to do. And that is so much of what we're about, because we are under an illusion, I believe, sometimes that everything's supposed to be easy, and it takes work. You might think, oh, wow, you won all those awards. Crikey. If you knew the work that goes into doing many of those things, so much work. But that's the goal, the dream that I have, and fitting it into how I want my life to be. So that's the same with property development, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, it is. It's very much the same. And AJ, well done. He's in their boots and all, isn't he? Flying along. It's only been in like 2 weeks.
Yes. And I suppose and it's funny because this isn't in the plan of what we were talking about today on the podcast, but it is the truth around people who just commit to that thing that you want, commit to being more healthy, commit to getting up earlier, commit to having that financial success that you want, commit to that relationship type that you want with your spouse, with your kids, with your family, with anything. Everything that you want to work or to be successful is going to take some effort. Yeah, and the reward, oh my gosh. In my case, the reward is going to be 5 trophies, and that to me means so much.
That's a culmination of many, many, many years of work.
Yes.
It didn't just pop out.
No, it's not an overnight success. Crikey.
No.
Like you didn't grow into an overnight. Well, you did grow into an overnight success, but you weren't an overnight success. You put the time in, the yards in. I know what you've done to get to where you need to go. And a lot of it's been a lot of slog. Anyway, should we get back on track, Bob?
What are we talking about?
We're
FIFO.
talking about FIFO versus property development. And Bob, I really want you to answer the first question. Why do you believe people choose FIFO? And because we know that when people do FIFO, it means I'll let you finish.
I think most people choose it because of the money that you can make working remotely, often in mines. I mean, that's typical, isn't it? When we think of FIFO, we think of working in the mines. Where are the mines? Well, they could be up the top of Western Australia. There's mines in Queensland and Western Australia has a lot of the mines, not the only mines, but that's where it is. And so you go away and you work and you do whatever it is that you do, whether you're driving big dump trucks or whether you're a tradie, electrician or whatever, fitter and turner, you do those things and you get paid really well. But I can't see that people go and do that because, I'm going to love working in the mines. And mate, some would maybe, but not a lot. I think the majority of people would go to make money, to slog it out. Oh, slog it out mightn't be the right term, but
for some people it is, Bob.
Yeah, work hard make a lot of money, but none of them see that as a long term. Nobody I've talked to thinks, oh, I'm going to retire out of the mines at 60 or 55. They go there for a certain amount of time to achieve something, and usually it's to save money. Could be to get a really good deposit on a house. Maybe they'll do it for some years and come pay cash for a house or buy some extra investment. It's all about money. The smart ones will invest it, but to me, it's why would you do it if it wasn't for the money? I mean, would you do that if you're just on an average salary? Don't think so.
I don't think so. I remember talking to somebody once who rang me and was asking about our education process, and I'm pretty straight up with what's required when I'm having some calls. I make a call on, I need to know what they've got behind them to put into a development, and this person was so keen to do a development and they just didn't have enough equity. They were maxed out. They had rentals and all that other stuff going on, investment properties and families and the business. And I said, you're just going to need some more equity, and however that comes, whether that's a loan partner or equity partner or whatever. And he went and got a job, FIFO job, away from his family. So he goes to Western Australia for I think is it a month or is it a few weeks? Anyway, he goes and then comes back. And he did it for a couple of years. And then he rang me back and said, Hilary, I'm ready to join the mentoring program now. I've done it. And I was like, what the heck? And hello, Brett. I know you're probably listening. And now you're into your first development, which is exciting. But that reminds me of the story when you talk about Gary Martini, when he just did what it took. He drove all night to make that workshop, to be there because he knew what he wanted. And it gives me goosebumps just saying this because Brett knew what he wanted and he did what he had to do, just like we said. People that do what they have to do, because he didn't have that equity. He didn't have the available equity already to extract from his property. He didn't have any. His answer was, how do I get it? How long is it going to take? And off he goes. And when he rang me back a few years later, he said, I've done what you said, Hilary. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is just wild. He'd got a hold of, I think it was about 350,000.
Wow.
That was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
Determined individual. That's what it takes sometimes.
But hey, so some people will do FIFO for that reason. They will do it to get that chunk like you were talking about. He does not see this as a long term. He did that to get into development so he can give that up.
And that's usually that's why I was saying FIFO is not normally like a lifetime career. People go there with a plan. Some go as couples. And with a plan of X years, we're going to do this. And then we're pulling the plug, and then that'll set us up to do whatever it is they want to do after that. That's what usually it is. Everyone I've ever spoken to, I've spoken to a lot of people that don't follow. I did some stints in the mines too, but not in here up in Lihir in New Ireland province in New Guinea, the biggest gold mine in the world, but not in the mines. I did go up on contract for like 2 weeks and then come back and then go up again later. I had a couple of different contracts I'd do up there, but I know what these huge mines look like, and it's not somewhere I want to live.
I remember sitting with somebody on a plane once. I was flying back to New Zealand, and he just talked me through what it was like, because I never stopped and considered what it would be like. Hundreds of people living in a commune type place, walk in, grab your lunch on a tray sort of thing, have your own little dorm room. It was kind of mind blowing because I'd never stopped to consider it. And I was like, wow, is that FIFO? It was for him.
Food's good.
Yeah, the food's good. He said a lot of people get very fat.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best food I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, no, sorry. When I mean mass-produced food.
Yes.
Not what you serve up to me. That's a restaurant grade every night, whenever you cook, which is nearly every night. But yeah, so that's why you do it. It's a long answer to a short question, but everyone I talk to does it for the money, and they're not going to be there forever.
Let's talk about Ross.
Oh, Ross, yeah.
Ross, while doing FIFO, did a property development. Tell us about that one, Bob.
Yeah, he certainly did. He was up at the top of Western Australia. Could have been Newman, not sure where he was, but he was out there somewhere. And at the same time, he was doing, I think it was either a 6 or an 8 townhouse project on the East Coast in New South Wales, sort of close to the beach. And
it was Byron, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Byron, yeah. And he did that while he was working in the mines. And so it worked out pretty good, because if you think about it, he's in Western Australia. So he's 2 hours later and 3 hours later than New South Wales in daylight saving. So when you think of the time, so it sort of works against him in the morning, but works for him later. So, and then he was also had his breaks. He had a couple of breaks, maybe lunch and 2 other small breaks, and that's when he do all his work. That's when he do his phone calls as well. So they'd already made a head start in New South Wales before he started. So he had that time before he started because they're 2 or 3 hours ahead. So he could do stuff early, and then you could do stuff, probably morning tea and lunchtime. By the time he knocked off that day, New South Wales might have been 2 or 3 hours ahead, so they're gone home. But that's when he could do some work back in the little hut.
He was
the
still
life in the hut.
He was in the mentoring program at the time, so he had you to lean on to ask, questions, etc. But the thing with Ross, he was reasonably young. Well, I mean, he's not that old now, so he wasn't older. And after he got through that project, sold it, gave up working in the mines, got into doing more projects, and has spent his life surfing around the world. He's the kind of guy that goes to Running Man. So those of you who know what that is, Burning Man, I mean, he's the kind of guy that goes there and just lives a life of traveling around. Fantastic, fun person. But his development world started because he was working FIFO and joined up, did his first development, and that was just a game changer. Ross still comes along to events. He still hangs out and texts every now and then. And good morning, Ross, if you're listening. I don't know if you listen to this, but it was a really cool story, isn't it? How he was able to use FIFO to get the chunks of money, also stay there while he did his first development, and then leave and move on into development full time.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people who are actually developing while they're doing FIFO as opposed to using FIFO ahead of the game. From people, I remember living in Victoria, used to go to Western Australia every second week, whatever. So that's a great story.
Oh, it is a great story. When you think about it, we do have so many great stories, and they just pop into mind every now and then. Even when we were just talking about Brett before, going and doing the saving the money for all that time, and he jumps on the live Q&As now. He's in the middle of nowhere, and he's basically standing on his car trying to get some sort of reception. He has the what's that, the Starlink. He does have Starlink, but it's every now and then he'll text me a photo. I've just got a site, and he's like his laptop set up on his bed in a small sort of square box, and it's such a fun world and time. I suppose we're really lucky that we get to help people change their lives, and he's so excited. But you're right, so many good stories. So Bob, I really am sort of getting the feeling where we're not saying one versus the other, but I do see that you're alluding to the fact that people don't really like FIFO forever for the obvious reasons. Have we missed any out? The reasons why?
Well, we talked about the reasons why you would do it.
Yes.
Probably haven't talked about the downside. And that's, one big one is being away from your family. You might be single. It'd probably be easier if you were single, but you could have a wife and kids back home. That's pretty wrenching. Yeah, sure, you get to have some, in your off time, you get to spend time with them. But then, I imagine leaving. I never went for more than 2 weeks at a time, and not all that often when I did my little stint. Occasionally, it's nothing like people who normally do FIFO. It'd be hard if your family wasn't there to keep flying away, and yeah, it can happen. I mean, sometimes relationships break up because you're just away a lot of the time, half the time or more. So that'd be one thing. You're just missing out on watching the kids grow up, maybe in certain circumstances. Family man, wife, kids.
It puts a lot of pressure on that person at home too, Bob. That person at home, they also have to transition their life. They're the person at home, but when the other person comes back, everyone's life changes, and then they go away and everyone's life changes. There's a lot of change that happens, and I do agree, not everyone adapts to that well.
Yeah, so that's certainly one of the things that comes to mind. It's isolating, and kids are growing up and seeing it part of the time.
So we're talking really about one versus the other and how you could transition in, but not everyone's cut out for development, Bob. There are some people that just haven't got the apple for it.
Not everyone's cut out for FIFO either.
No, exactly. So we're thinking of people with FIFO that do have a lot of money, they can invest in other people's property developments.
Oh, that happens a lot.
Yes.
As you know, because you look after the investment side of our projects that we do, the ones we develop ourselves. And so you talk to some of those people, and Yeah, look, it used to be a happy, or I call it a happy hunting ground. Maybe years ago, and maybe it still happens. I don't know. But back in the days when we had the marketers who were selling a lot of investment properties, and some of them were a bit dodgy, to be honest. 2-tier, 3-tier marketing back in the 90s and early 2000s. A lot of those people used to go to the mines, particularly, and run seminars for people. A lot of them invested. Some of them must have probably got some really good investments while they were up there. Yeah, look, for some people, FIFO, we said they do it for the money. It's what you do with the money. You can pour it into a property development of your own. When you come back, you can do a property development while you're there. Or you could simply invest in somebody else's project. Because as an investor, you can make as much money as the developer.
And we're talking about investing in property developments, not just the whole and buy another property and
not property investment.
Look at Bob, not property investment.
Well, it's too slow.
Yes, it's too slow. Exactly.
That's the only thing. I'm in favour of property investment when we are developers. We build our own properties and we keep them because we get them so much cheaper by developing them than the normal person has to pay retail price. So that's one. I'm not against investment and holding properties because that's what we do. We hold properties. We don't always sell them. And so that's a good thing. It's just a slow process if you keep paying retail price all the time. But
and the market, up, down, up, down.
Investing in a property development, well, that can give it really good returns on capital as a loan partner, or they can be part of the project as an equity partner and make really good profits. So that's another thing, FIFO. If you've got that extra capacity to earn cash, and you got cash, you're saving up 100, and next thing you got 200. What are you going to do with it?
I'm thinking a wee slogan that pops into your head for me is FIFO pays for today, but development pays for tomorrow, because you're earning those bigger chunks, and that's that future thinking versus FIFO is still in that you're still living in the now cost, especially if you've got people at home. Yeah,
and you can do more than that. You can be FIFO earning really good money. You can also do a project while you're doing FIFO. We know that. But you can also do a project while you're earning good money with FIFO with an investor.
Yes.
And that's the other three things. Some people simply don't want to go and work remotely in mines. And so
I'd be one of those.
Yeah. So how are you going to do a project? You haven't got enough money and you don't want to go to the mines. What are you going to do? Get an investor. That's what most people do. But if you combined it with doing a property development, getting an investor, and going to the mines, the three things, and you can do that as well. You're earning really good money. You're using investors' funds as well to make them wealthy in yourself, and you're doing a property project, and we know you can do it remotely while you're away because a number of people have.
I think that when you're saying that, Bob, it just reminds me of that statement from the beginning. Successful people do the things that unsuccessful people don't. And this doesn't have to be something you do all of your life. This is a time in your life that you put that effort and time in, that energy into, to make a difference for later. That's why I was meaning FIFO can pay for now, development will pay for later. But you combine those two and thinking of the future it will create. So whether you do already have a family or you don't, you're in a situation that you're not happy at your future outcome and you want to change that. All of that stuff is so possible for change, and people just don't realize that it is that possible. It is just so possible.
It is.
Yes.
How do I know it's possible? Because we work with bunches of people, neither now or in the past, that have done it
every single day.
All sorts of people. They're not like, they don't all run around with IQs of 135 or 40.
No.
This is just everyday people that are prepared to do it, prepared to do the extra yards.
So if I look through the things I wanted to bring up with you, Bob, today, how long would a transition generally take? Say you're sitting here today and you know you can get a job in the mine and you want to do that. I suppose the answer could be like Brett, it was 2 years later. But if you wanted to do that, what would that timeline be before you had enough to get set up into a development? So today you're working in an office, you're ho-hum, my life is looking grim. I'm going to go do FIFO for X amount of time to change my life, to do property development as well, to change my future. What do you think? What do you see as a timeline?
There's a few variables there.
Totally. That's why I threw it at you.
Obviously, earning capacity.
Yes.
You're driving dump trucks. You're an electrician or a plumber or a fitter and turner. What are you doing? Maybe it's a managerial role in a mine. Doesn't have to be, at the coalface, so to speak. Do you like that?
Oh, no. Well done.
So depends on the job and what you can make. Also depends a lot on what you do with your money. You can drink and gamble it away. You can make 300,000 a year and have nothing left at the end of the year, depending on what you do with it. Or you could have a heap left at the end of the year. And some people might go up. Husband and wife might go up. They think both of them are earning big money. So it does vary a bit. Look, how much money do you need to do a property development without any help from an investor? It probably kicks in around, I'd say around 300,000. Probably where it starts. Small, very small projects, but development projects still. So how long does it take to save 300,000 from ground zero? I don't know, 2 years. Just depends.
Do you know what I'm thinking though? You're also around other people. There's all that downtime. There's the potential to create those joint venture type relationships. Hey, I mean, I often say, united we stand, divided we fall. So when we pull together, there's the opportunity to move forward. And people they forget that. And we do often hear people say, I just want to do my first one myself. And so often I think,
they wait too long.
Yeah, you have to wait too long.
You could have done a joint venture while you were waiting.
Yeah.
And made at least 200,000.
Yeah.
It's really like a cheaper duplex.
You know what you say, Bob?
Make 400.
What's the Bob Anderson saying? You never go
broke making a profit.
Yeah, exactly. You never go broke making a profit.
Yeah. So it's not one v the other. It's how can you do both at the same time? If you're in the mines, the thing is, well, how are you going to find a deal when you're like 2,500 kilometres away? And that could be on your time when you're back. So I've often seen it with FIFOs when they come back. Now it doesn't really work like this, but let's just say you're away away for 10 days and back for 5 or 7 or whatever it is. It seems to vary all over the shop. When you're back, you can do a lot of work on the ground finding a deal, or you could engage a good buyer's agent who can look for a site for a deal while you're up in the mines. As if you can find the deal. Once you find the deal, and it's a good deal, it's procedural. I mean, you've got to keep on top of it. You've got to pull the team together, but certainly doable easily, because it's only a part-time job doing a project. You could drive an Uber or stack shelves or do a property development. It's only like small property development, duplex, 4 townhouses. On average over the whole project, it's only 4 or 5 hours a week.
That's not a huge amount of time when you think about it. And the average person spends that, scrolling on their phone, watching telly, wasting time. And it's about putting that effort in up front. So, Bob, I sort of see I don't know what happened there. Got a bit of a lisp, but I sort of see property development as the ticket off the plane for those who do want to get out of FIFO. But I also see FIFO as sometimes the ticket on the plane to get involved in property development. You can see how it works both ways. So maybe today's chat isn't really FIFO versus property development, which builds a better future. I think as something coupled together, they can really support each other, whether you use it as a way to get a chunk of money to get started, whether you use it as a way to meet other joint venture partners because other people are there for the same reason. They're there to change their future, whether you see it as a sort of as a means to an end, really.
Yeah, it's not a competition between the two. One can enhance the other.
Totally.
And if you're prepared to do it, then that's great. But it's not an absolute necessity, because we know we could do property development back where we live. I mean, if it was tick this box for FIFO, tick this box for property development. I mean, for me, like property development, well, first of all, you don't have to go away. You don't have to travel thousands of kilometres away from your family. That'd be one good thing. Why you'd want to develop rather than, like, if you had to choose one or the other. I mean, the things you don't would just prove you don't have to choose it. You can do them both, and it goes really well. But if you had to, I'd rather stay at home. So I don't want to go to the mines or stay at home. That's one good reason. You can earn very good money at FIFO, but you can earn really good money at property development. Even if you've done one small project, you're probably making a similar sort of money annually, and you're working 4 hours a week. So you can go away for half or 2/3 of your life and earn good money, or you can stay at home and earn good money and do what's the equivalent of a 6-day weekend. Like if you work 8 hours a day, which you don't work 8 hours a day on a small project. So on average. During construction phase of a project, which is probably half the length of a project, on average, probably work 1.5 hours a week. There's bucket loads going on site, but that's the builder and the trades. So, when I say that, it's fact.
It is fact. In fact, we're in construction right now with one of our projects, and I'm doing a little bit of work with construction finance though at the minute, not too much. And we'll call in and have a look and take some photos on Thursday, and that's pretty much it. Done. Yeah, there's not much once.
No,
because we're not doing the work.
No, Aaron and I do a bit of interaction with the builder, but he's just flying. He doesn't need a lot from us.
No. So I think we can wrap this one up. I think that I wouldn't underestimate the power of who you might meet when you're there. I think that is something that is gold. And that's something that I talk a lot about at our workshops, the power of the people you meet, who you're connected to. Whose phone number do you have? A lot of you have my phone number. In fact, send me a text when you listen to this and say, yeah, I got your number. That'll be funny. Someone I rang yesterday and they said my name. I was like, oh, you saved my number. That's the sort of thing I do. I'm pretty good at saving numbers. But I think we can wrap this one up, Bob. And it was a great summary. It can be all, it can be both, it can be none. It doesn't have to be either or, but your preference would be development all day long, and mine too. So let's wind this one up. We do have a pretty exciting project right now that's available. It's a childcare. It's a 12-month development opportunity. So if you're interested in investing in that, there will be a link below here. You need to have a chat with me about it. I don't just send out an IM when people go, send me the IM. That doesn't happen in my world. So I do need to have a chat to find out if it is the right fit for you, meaning it can't be self-managed super. It's got to be cash. There's a few other things that you need to have it available sort of within the next month would be pretty much the outside. So if you want to have a chat with me about that, it's a great opportunity. The return is a lot. I'm not even going to say it. Or do you want to say it?
No, it's really good, as they all are.
As they all are. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I've probably got a couple of spots left in there. Other than that, we hope you have a fabulous week. Hope we've sparked some thought there and you're a little bit inspired. Bob, have you got anything you'd like to wind in the end with?
Not really, other than to say property development. I mean, I've done it for over 40 years. I still haven't found anything better that's legal, and I haven't done the other stuff, so I'll stick with it. Thanks.
Okay. And if you want to talk to us about any of our education processes, there's always a link below. Have a chat to the team. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye now.